According to the biblical narrative, the last days of Jesus Christ include a series of significant events culminating in his crucifixion, death, and resurrection. Here is a summary of the key events. Triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Jesus enters Jerusalem riding on a donkey, while the crowd hails him as the Messiah, waving palm branches and singing Hosanna. This event is commemorated on Palm Sunday. Cleansing of the temple. Jesus drives out the money changers and merchants from the temple in Jerusalem, criticizing religious corruption and proclaiming the temple as a house of prayer. Final teachings and Last Supper. Jesus celebrates the Jewish Passover with his disciples, during which he institutes the Eucharist and washes the feet of his followers. During the supper, he predicts his betrayal by Judas and Peter's denial. Prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus prays in anguish in the garden, asking God to take away his suffering, but he accepts the divine plan. Arrest and trial. Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss, and Jesus is arrested by the Jewish religious authorities. He is subjected to a trial before the Sanhedrin and then before Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. Crucifixion. Jesus is sentenced to death by crucifixion, a Roman method of execution reserved for the most despised criminals. He is crucified on Golgotha between two thieves, death and burial. Jesus dies on the cross, and his body is taken down and placed in a tomb provided by a wealthy follower, Joseph of Arimathea. Resurrection. 3 days after his crucifixion, Jesus rises from the dead, demonstrating his divinity and power over death. He appears to his disciples and other followers before ascending to heaven. These events, narrated in the Gospels of the New Testament, are fundamental to the Christian faith and are commemorated in Holy Week, especially in the Paschal Triduum, which includes Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and the celebration of the resurrection at the Easter Vigil. Judas's betrayal. Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' 12 disciples, conspires with religious leaders to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Peter's denial. Jesus predicts that Peter will deny him 3 times before dawn, and this is fulfilled when Peter denies knowing Jesus during his trial before Pilate. After being arrested, Jesus is brought before the Roman procurator Pontius Pilate, who questions Jesus but finds no fault in him worthy of death. However, due to pressure from the crowd, Pilate eventually yields and allows Jesus to be crucified, crowning with thorns and mockery. Before being crucified, Roman soldiers mock Jesus, place a crown of thorns on his head, and dress him in a purple robe, while they beat and insult him. Via crucis and crucifixion, Jesus carries his own cross to Golgotha, where he is crucified alongside 2 thieves. During his agony on the cross, he utters several final words, including the famous phrase, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." The 7 last words on the cross. Jesus speaks several final words while being crucified, including entrusting his mother Mary to John, the beloved disciple, and expressing thirst, death, and descent into hell. Jesus finally dies on the cross, and his body is taken down and placed in a tomb. According to some Christian traditions, during the time between his death and resurrection, Jesus descends into hell to free the righteous souls who were awaiting the Messiah's arrival. Resurrection and appearances. 3 days after his death, Jesus rises from the dead, demonstrating his victory over sin and death. He appears to several of his followers, including Mary Magdalene, the disciples on the road to Emmaus, and the gathered apostles in the locked room. These events are fundamental to the Christian faith and form the basis of the celebration of Easter, the most important feast in the Christian liturgical calendar. Would you like to explore more inspiring content about the life and teachings of Jesus? Then subscribe to our channel right now so you don't miss a single video. Get exclusive access to deep reflections, Bible studies, storytelling, and much more. Join our community of committed followers and discover how faith can transform our lives. Don't miss this opportunity to grow spiritually and strengthen your relationship with God. Click the subscribe button and join us on this journey of faith and discovery.